Hey, P2, do you want to hear some trivia?
Oh, mate, I love a good game of trivia.
Guess what happens when a chook and two pelicans get together?
What's that, mate?
A clucking good time. That's right, you pelicans. The wobbly chook has jumped on board, keeping the bird presence strong. Whether you like a pale ale, brown ale, IPA, or a lager, the wobbly chook has you catered. Crafted from Yamba's finest chooks.
Better still, Mick, how do we get some wobbly chook?
That's easy, P2. Jump online at www.wobblychookbrewingco.com or pop into 26 Cole Street in the heart of Yamba.
And have a clucking good time.
Cluck out.
Cuckoo! Always remember, don't be a mud gudgeon and drink responsibly.
Welcome back to another episode of the Two Pelicans podcast. So you would have just missed that.
G'day, you Pelicans.
Here he was. You were sort of hung up on his
door. Go and have a good time with them a bit later on.
Pelicans landing in 3, 2, 1.
All right. Welcome back to the Two Pelicans. I'm Mick.
I'm Bo.
And we've got another Mick. So once again, we're here to make fishing great again. And we've got a special guest, Micky Goodwin. How you going, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. How are you?
Good. We thought we'd just drag you in here tonight. We're on location at after Bo and I have just gone and had a bit of a look around today, but you've been kind enough to give us some time to actually, come in and have a bit of a yarn, mate. So,
yeah, no, it's good. Thanks for the invite.
Yeah.
It's a good experience to come and do something new.
Yeah, something new. Yeah. It's sort of, we're not asking any sexual favours or anything, but...
well, that's the only reason I come on here. You lie about the whole thing.
Don't tell them on the screen what I promised you. $20 is $20.
I know what happens in these brim tournaments. I know what's going on.
There's a reason I started liking them.
Mate, look, you're at the public day tomorrow.
Yep, that's right.
Now, you've been in and out of this sort of after stuff there for a little bit now. What's your thoughts on after and holding something like this, especially on the Gold Coast, I suppose?
Yeah, look, last year was the first time I've been up here.
Mm-hmm.
It's a good experience.
Yep.
It absolutely blew me away. Like, I'm from a little town just south of Coffs Harbour. And to come up here and just see the amount of fishing gear is the first time I've ever been to after, and it just absolutely blew me away. So, and just the vibe, it's unreal how energetic, especially all the young kids are. Like that, those kids up to late teenage, it's just insane.
Those little grommies. I reckon we'll probably start seeing the lines up at 4 o'clock in the morning.
Like I say, just you sit there and you just pump the whole day. It's just pumped. It's good.
Now, just a quick story. We'll go into that little segue. We were coming out of there today and Bo had to go give himself a little rub. But while I was waiting there was a security guard with a little kid there. And the kid's like, I can't come in. And then he's looked at me and he's like, can we go in there today? And I'm like, nah, sorry, mate. And he goes, I really want to be here. I want to meet Brooksy. Brooksy. Like, that's what I want to do. And he'd be lucky to be 12, right? And I'm like, yeah, mate, you're probably going to have to come back tomorrow and line up. And he goes, I'll be here at 6 o'clock in the morning, eh? And I was just like, man, that young fella's committed, eh?
Yeah, and they will be too. Like last year, even we got here, I think it was like 7:30, waiting on the crew. And the lineup of kids was just next level. Out and out the door. It was nuts. So.
Yeah. All right, mates. So I guess where did your fishing journey start for you? And, tell us a little bit about what you've done with the fishing along the way.
Yep, too easy. I grew up in a little town, or just outside a little town called Barraville, down in Nambucca Valley. So we were lucky enough to have a cattle farm with the river running through. When I say river, it was just a little creek, back then. And my old man's always been a bass fisher, lure fisher. He's, especially his adult life, but ever since he was a kid, he's been a devout bass fisher. So he started taking me around the river with him when I was probably about 2 years old. As soon as I could stand, he had a life jacket on carting me around the river. So that's pretty well how it started for me. So I cut my teeth with the old bubble float with a worm underneath it, the single split shot. That's how I started my bass fishing journey, catching catfish and everything like that as kids. And then slowly progressed from there. So.
Yeah, righto. And like, you're sort of you dabble yourself a little bit in the tournaments. You do a bit of social content or social media. What sort of avenue do you like in what area of fishing that you go to? Like, is it the social media side? Are you just happy to go for a fish? If there's a tournament, I might go to it. You know what I mean? Is it the next generation now that you've got kids and that? Like, what's sort of the angle that you sort of go with your fishing, I suppose?
It's funny. I get asked this a bit like people will say, you know, are you a wannabe tournament fisher, or you know, are you trying to be an influencer?
Yeah.
I genuinely just love fishing. I
Yep.
always have. I grew up with a fishing rod in my hand everywhere I went.
Yeah.
And one thing that anyone that knows me, I'm a pretty energetic and I'm a full shit guy. I just love a good time. But I like to keep things real, and I like to just do the everyday fishing.
Yeah.
And I'd like to be able to show people that I'll go out and catch a 40 centimetre flatty, and that's great. I'm happy.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm happy to throw my little tinny in the tournament series
and
have a go against the best that we've got in the country. To improve my skills. But to also put yourself out there and show people it doesn't matter if you don't have all the bells and whistles. You don't
need $100,000 boat to do the tournaments.
You can get out there and enjoy it. So I just like to be that. I'll never say I'm a crack gun fisher. I've spent a lot of time on the water, so I know how to catch fish. But I like to just show people there from a young age to an old age there that you can get out in any scenario and catch fish.
Yeah, that's right. And I think that's the thing too, like there's always that perception, and I remember a few stories as I've gone through my little journey where someone will be like, oh, how can I compete with them guys, with them sort of boats and all the rest of it? But fact of the matter is, I've seen like young Tommy Austin in our river system.
How many times have we been whooped by a 3.9 metre tinny?
Yeah, like probably the smallest boat in the in the comp. And he comes out on top. So it's definitely look, big boats definitely do have their advantages.
Absolutely,
get to A to B quicker and perhaps go a lot further. But I guess if you're just around looking to go fishing for the day or something like that, I've gotten to the point there now that if I was just going to go and fish a particular area, I'd love a tinny because I'd probably bash it up against the rocks and have a fair bit of carry on with it. You know what I mean?
You wouldn't be scared about putting it on middle wall, that's for sure.
No.
That's it. I mean, I throw mine over banks, muddy ramps and that all the time. I can tow it out west, drop it off the bank at Pelican Dam, and I don't have to worry about it. Like, and the best part is I get home, like where I live, I'm literally on the water within 5 minutes. I put the boat in. I don't have to go far. Some nights it's only 100 metres from the ramp and I'm fishing. I come home at 11 o'clock, give it a quick hose off there and throw it in the shed.
Job's done.
The job's done.
That's it.
There's very little maintenance on it. So, which is good. But don't get me wrong, I'd love to have a glass boat on some of those days where it's lovely, especially when everyone's whistling past you to a spot. But
especially when you get number one key tagged and you're finally and 800 metres every comes past you.
I can tell you now, when we had the hunt around earlier in the year, and I think I was sitting in about 12th or 14th or something like that after day one, and I had the spot and I knew I had to be there right on first light, and we had the fog delay. So it was great. We had to do the 6 knots the whole way to the spot, and I knew all the boys were running further down the river. So I was like, they're not going to stop and fish that because they're going to want to get to their spot.
Get to their spot first.
And I literally pulled up and I got me fish that I need to get early. I didn't get them all, but I got what I need to finish in the top 10. So, but that was the only time I was like, this is great having a tinny. Like I'm not stressing it.
Well, that's all. I think that around at Wivenhoe, that's all 6 knots, isn't it?
Wivenhoe's all 6 knots.
That's it.
That's where you can almost pull the electric boat out and and be on point with speed.
Now, we had a bit of a joke, obviously, before we started that, you obviously a carpenter by trade, right? And you actually come in here and told us that you had to go buy some clothes before you were going to go to the after here tonight.
I don't normally just dress like this, all right? Normally I'm in a pair of stubbies and a shirt and a work shirt. That's me 24/7. So.
This is uncomfortable. Some people say these are comfortable clothes. This is uncomfortable.
It just doesn't feel normal. Does it? Especially shoes. Like,
shoes. Where's the thongs? And that. Righto. So I'm going to hit you with a question.
Right, go for it.
You're a part of Atomic and Frogley's offshore fishing team.
Yep.
What's some of the new products coming out from Atomic Frogley's that you've either had a part with, had something to say with, or you're just really excited to see drop on the market?
Yep. So I haven't had a chance myself to use a lot of the new gear.
Yep.
But what they've got coming out this year that's pretty cool is they've got the new range of Flicks rods. Which is it's aimed at the kids, to the beginner fishermen, to the fishers that don't want to go out and spend a monster on a rod, but still want a quality rod that they can travel around Australia with, and or just be able to go out on the weekend fish.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, and the beauty about the Flicks range is 11 models in the range. There's 9 spinning rods and there's 2 bait casters, but they're all 2-piece.
Yeah. Okay.
So for kids to throw them in the backpack and just ride down to the river, or if you're traveling around Australia and just throw it in the back of the 4-wheel drive, it's perfect.
Yeah.
Fits the bill. And for a rod that retails around $100. It's a great bit of kit for that.
Right, yeah, that's right. And I think we've had these discussions there before around, what should someone really spend on fishing gear, right? There's so much stuff out there. There's like the super high end stuff or whatever. But I sort of do feel like a lot of the market now is sort of coming back that way to try and compensate for obviously the cost of living, the next generation. And, I guess we're people that, we don't watch TVs too much still. So we're still spitting out 2 or 3 or 4 kids, right?
That's
right. By the time you sort of get all that fishing gear, there, it's a cost for mum and dad. It's probably about a fee where them kids just go off and these are $100 and $200 for soccer this year or something like that. So bringing some of that back down into a more affordable price range, and it could even be for mum and dad, you know what I mean, to actually have that there instead of sort of going, oh, well, this has got that. But the one thing that strikes me, obviously, with Frogglers is all the Fuji componentry as well.
Right, yeah.
And that's just the stuff.
And
that's the gear.
And that's the thing. You look at these new range of Flicks rods. They're a carbon graphite hybrid blank.
Mm-hmm.
You've got the Fuji guides and O-rings. You've got the Fuji reel seats and the Duralong grips, which are on basically most of the rods outside. But you're getting all those components on a rod around $100.
Yeah, that's
well,
right.
I picked it up and I was like, oh, we got is this new Arrow? And he's like, nah, it's the Flick. And I was like, that feels good. And then he's like, mate, that's our standard basic starter rod. And I was like, you've done well
and
with that.
And what Starkey and Dom have done well with it is basically, and like you said, price point's a big thing.
Yeah.
So for the kid that goes, hey, mum and dad, I want to get into lure fishing. Well, they've just had skateboards and rollerblades and motorbikes and horses and everything else. As kids do, they change their mind every 5 seconds. Yeah. So you don't want to go out and spend $400 on a rod for your kid that's going to be flying around. So you start at the $100 price point there, and they get into it. They develop their skills and everything, and then they go, you know what, I wouldn't mind something better. Yeah. They can step up to the Arrows and they can go, right,
and they're a great rod. Like I cried on the weekend. I broke mine. Shout out to Starkey. That was the one I got from ABT at McLean. And look, you'll be getting a phone call, mate. I think I might need 1 or 2 more. I broke it at Crazy and I was bloody devastated. Of course, I was doing something I shouldn't have been doing with it, but.
What were you doing? Did you get the shits and do this shit, or what did you do?
So what
I was. Can I just say I abuse these rods weekly?
Oh yeah,
I abuse them.
Yeah, like I'm hard on.
So
gear,
I want to know how you broke it.
Well, it was a dickhead moment. So I was out jerk baiting with the 7'3" crank, the brim crank rod. Probably.
Well, since that says brim crank.
Yeah, and I'm using a jerk bait on it. But I just liked how it was getting my nice little flick on the jerk, and it was looking good.
It's got a beautiful tip on
it. It had me sold. So I was like, it's getting used. And unfortunately, there was a red claw trap that didn't have any float on it. And I was just working the edge, and I went flick, nothing. I had 2 puffs on the ciggy, flicked again, and I've went, oh, that's something.
Yeah.
I've struck, and as it's come down the bank, the drag's pulling, so I'm like, oh, fuck, this is a fish. Like, here we go.
Yeah.
And then I get to the boat, and then it's dead weight down in 20 foot of water, and then I'm bending it, and then, sort of just snap the fucking tip of it off.
You realise it wasn't an estuary cod laying down. It's not an estuary cod.
So it was my fault, and like, look, I've done a few brim comps with Mick and that, and I'm a bit of a high sticker when I'm brim fishing and it never broke. And if anyone knows the other brands that I use, and I don't need to say it, but if I do that to them, they snap every day of the week. But I was quite impressed with the Atomic Arrow.
They've certainly put a lot of R&R into them to get them where they are, especially the second version, which is out now.
Yeah. Well, one thing that I always, and we're only talking about this today, was that I've got a whole quiver of samurai reactions. I've told this story on the podcast before, but we'll tell it again because I think we told it like the second or third episode or something. But we went and done the Kamakatsu team series back in the day. First ever comp, it was up the Gold Coast. We had 50 mil of rain. It was absolutely pouring down. Anyhow, first comp ever, like in that sort of level. Might have done one or two of the local ones. And we only got 3 brim, but at the end, the random prize draw, and I got a Samurai 201. And it just become my favourite stick to go to. And then later on down the track, I got a couple, and then a good friend of ours, Gildo Pagotto, made his own custom rods in Evans Head, and he went and got all the Samurai blanks and components and whacked me a whole heap. Like I sort of put down the reel set a little bit down further for a couple of hard body lures and things like that. So I moved just some things around and tweaked a few things, but the blank itself is I love it. And to go to one more point more, like I tread on them Fuji guides, do everything to them. Only now that original one that I won, I would say back in 2000, not one, in a random prize draw back in 2010 or 11, is only now the resin and one of the runners is starting to come away. And I can just sit there and just shove it back in and it stays there for another 3 months.
I think Tyson's got a samurai. My first samurai Tyson's now got, and I think that's what there's one little eyelet there that we just super glue.
You've got all your rods on your deck and that. I tread on the bloody things all the time. I've been like me reel, the handles,
armbar,
handles,
the bail arms,
But at least with the Fuji stuff, you just sort of I just tweak it back inside, goes back into place, and then you're right for the next 5 years. It's great.
I don't know how many times I've bashed them around when I'm kayak fishing or anything like that. And you get home and you clean your rods out and you see one of the guys just bent like that. And you go, how did that happen? You just give it a wreagle back and it's sweet,
that's why it casted a little bit shit there for a while.
The other thing, while we're just in the Frogley space, is how many years has it been now that they've sort of got the zip bait in that in the realm there?
Last year?
Zip baits come in last year, which was great. Like we're in
great
those
lure.
now. They're a great lure. Especially for the brim guys now. And even with the cranks, the B switches that they brought out. There's I've been running them a bit myself, and they're a great crankbait too. Just another body shape that you can throw in there.
I love the skinny pop. I love the skinny pop junior for whiting. You will not get. Look, don't get me wrong. The Bass Day is pretty good.
I was about to say, don't even say.
No, but that Skinny Pop Junior, I've gone. It was years ago. My father and grandfather, that was I back at the time. It was New Year's Day. And I honestly, I fell asleep at 9 o'clock. Didn't have much to drink. I was like, I'm going fishing in the morning. And I knew my father and grandfather were going to go fishing. Anyhow, so I shot over to Alagundy Island first up, and I absolutely brained the whiting on it. I got 45, 50. Some of them around 45, 46 centimetres, right? Big fish. And I just got sick of catching them in the end. And Big Tony Thorley actually rings me up and goes, "How's it going there, Mick?" I'm like, it's going really, really good, but it was starting to slow down, you know what I mean? And anyhow, he come flying through. He's like, I'll have a go at that. But anyhow, I kept probably about maybe 10 or whatever at the time, and kept him in the live well and that. Anyhow, I knew me father and grandfather were fishing at Broadwater, and I sort of rang them up and said, "Hey, do you want some fish?" And he's like, "Yeah, we've only got a couple of flathead here. They're bottom bound, some plastic baits and that." Anyhow, so I run around there and I'm getting them out of the thing, and my grandfather's going, "Oh, that's not a bad Jewfish." And a Jewfish. I just looked.
Back then, that was probably the legal size limit for a Jewy too.
It was. I'm going back quite a while now. But 45 was the size. So, just a good story. But once again, on that zip bait, Skinny Pop Junior, just absolutely, I've never had a session on whiting like that.
I still remember the first time I ever bought one of those, and this is going back years ago too. And I was like, I'll give this a bit of a whirl. And it was back. The old man got a tinny, and I think I was about 17 or 18 or something. And we started dabbling down into the soul a bit more in estuaries. And I bought this skinny pop, and I was like, I'll just give this a bit of a flick around there, bucket there, and the brim were just coming up banging. And I'm like, how good is this?
Yeah.
And I was talking to the old guru there, well-known bloke at home there, and like he's well into his late 80s now.
Yeah.
And he said to me, by hands down, the best surface lure you'll ever get. You know?
Yeah.
And obviously, there's plenty of outs like us, between having the zip baits and the bass days and then the atomic canine range and everything. You kind of got a walker or a popper for every occasion now. So, it's great for that sort of stuff. So, it's certainly a good asset for the boys to be importing the zip baits.
Yeah.
I know Drew Griffiths, he's smashing them on things.
I was about to say, him on socials has been loving them a lot.
He loves them. So,
and just on that, another moment, in a strange way, in microbaiting for flathead.
Yep.
Gold Coast flathead clay. I'm not going to give too much away, but I'm going to a little bit. Sorry, Lenny, if you're watching. We got there on the last day, and we just started using real little microbaits around the islands around near the seaway and that.
Yeah.
Crab Island.
And the little brim shats.
Yeah.
Mate, they worked a treat because they didn't really dive. We had to keep it up above sort of the sludge and stuff.
Yeah.
And they were only going down probably that 1.2 meters, maybe. It wasn't going too deep and very slow sort of working.
Yeah.
We got it 16. I think in probably about 3 hours or 4 hours just doing that. Now, full disclosure, they weren't like trophy fish, but when you're in a comp, when you need them numbers,
that's right.
And if you wanted to feed, not bad.
That's it. If you've got to try and fill that bag,
and they call it a brim shot.
Yeah. And that's it. And like you say, it's just sometimes that different profile, that different action. It's like the crank 38. You can go from the crank 38 to the brim shad.
Yeah.
And just that difference in action can be all it takes to get a bite.
Yeah.
It really is. It's amazing that, like, say, subtle difference, but a big difference for the fish's eyes.
Yeah. You'd have the question now, Bo, wouldn't you?
I've got a question. So
I'll shut up for a bit. Actually, I have to say, so today, people wouldn't see me do any reels, right? And I was just like, I've had a big week at work. I've been talking all week at work. My mind's just been sunk in work.
Yeah.
And this guy actually done 1 or 2 reels to start off today. And I'm like, I don't need to do this. You're doing heaps better than me. You're the man. You got this. You got this covered. So shout out to you, P3. Yeah.
All right. So this question, in my eyes, you've got the big 4: Shimano, Daiwa, Rapala, Atomic Froglies offshore.
Yep.
Someone's probably going to have a whinge in the comments about some other one. I'm sorry. In my eyes, they're the big 4 in Australia.
Yep.
How did you come to be an Atomic Froglies sponsored angler? Was it something that they approached you from your work on the socials? Is it something that you loved using this product and said, "Hey guys, here I am"?
Yeah.
How did the Frogly Atomic story come aboard with you?
So I guess I knew of Froglies, and I've always used atomic lures. I've always had a few in the kit, as everyone has. Everyone's always had an atomic lure in their kit. It was years ago. There was a Dave Copperswaite ran the Wild River Bass Classic out of Ski Lodge.
Yep. Oh, Ski Lodge, that one. Yeah, the Ski Lodge. Yep.
So Atomic Froglies were the major sponsor
for that run.
Yep. So I won't go into the details, but Duffy only just pipped us, and Levi Davison and myself at the time, we come second in it.
Yeah.
So,
You did really good that weekend. We won't talk about how well I went.
And the prize that we got for it, along with a bit of cash, was an Arrows rod.
Yeah,
we got an Arrows rod each.
Yep.
And with a few of the guys that were there, Damon was there at the time. Joey Allen was there. So I met Joey, and we all know you don't forget Joe when you meet him.
No.
And just kind of got talking to him after the weekend, and like a few blokes message saying, "Hey, like some of the guys took notice and everything." And I never thought anything about being a sponsored fish out at any stage. We're just early into the socials and everything like that.
Yeah.
And back then, Froglies had a thing you could. As silly as it sounds, they had a thing you could apply for a sponsorship. So I did. And I thought, I'll never hear anything of it. Whatever. But I'm going to do it anyway.
I'm going to throw my hat in the ring and see what happens.
And Dom rang me up, and and he said, we'll give you a bit of a go. This is what we're going to get you to do. Very simple, a little starter pack.
Yep.
And that was it. I called it return to earn. You had to do a few things to get something out of it.
Yeah,
exactly.
And
I think that's a thing that a lot of young fellas
People
this
don't realise.
day and age that are looking for sponsorship, that it is a two-way street.
Absolutely.
It's not
and
just
we'll touch on
give
that in
me.
a minute too, because so I had to do that, and then progressively it's gone further and further to the point, where I'm involved in AFTA.
Now you're at AFTA.
So, which for me is just the pinnacle of it, you know, to be supported by such a great company. And, something that I've always dreamed of there. But, at the same time, as you said, doing the hard work to get where you go. A lot of people don't see what you do behind the scenes,
100%.
The little things, and they just think it's all the cream at the top.
Well, that's it. Like they see our social video. They don't know that that's probably taken us 2 days to get that minute and a half clip.
Probably about 18 hours of donuts that week. Trying to get the bite you want, to get the content you want. That's frustrating. But and I know talking to, especially like say Damon Andrews there when he was in there with a lot of it. Damo said to me, the amount of young blokes that ring up and like, I want to be sponsored, I want free gear, this is what I want. And they don't want to do the hard yards now because they don't have to. They don't have to go and learn like we had to learn. They get on YouTube. It's already there for them.
Yeah, that's right. And that sort of brings me into the next sort of thing there too. Sorry, to cut you off. Is we have so much YouTube and social media that we have so many things out there. But I think if you're a young person, you really need to be able to be fluent on camera. Resonate with other people. Now, we spoke about this, briefly touched on with Byron's interview, that sometimes it's okay to sort of go, this hasn't worked out or whatever. But it's more about being real, you know what I mean? I find, in the next probably 10 or 15 years where social media fishers go let's just say Versacomp guys, because there's a bit of a, there's not too many guys that are sort of doing both. It'll be interesting to see how they unfold that and do the rest of it, because, we've got all these guys fishing up north catching the big fish. We have all the guys down south here. Probably the young fella that will start to do all the drone footage with the flathead a few years ago. Nav. He found another angle to give viewers something. So my question is, how are we going to do this better and make it bigger, and for the tackle companies to go, man, this is new. We want to get on board with this. You know what I mean? Versus maybe someone that's a great tournament fisherman. That just goes, wins a few things, and this is. I'm not pipping one against each other here, but technically, let's face it, there's some YouTube channels out there that show a bit of bum. And I'm not saying that they're bad fishermen or whatever, or all the rest of it. Like they're pretty good, right? But then you've got these guys.
But their brim photo doesn't deserve 3,000 likes, I'm going to say.
Oh, right. I was saying out of this conversation. Nah. What brim? But this is the thing. So I'm sort of thinking like, where does all this go now? You know what I mean?
Well, it's pretty interesting.
What's the next next step forward?
It's interesting, like you say, and I see it. So, like I say, the content I create, I like to just keep it simple when I'm out there fishing. I don't try and hide my spots too much, and I'll post the day that I've caught the fish. I'm not one of these bugs that'll leave it 3 months or anything. There's a few photos if I'm a bit low on the bank, I'll throw them in. And then, if I want to, if I've got something in there. But it's interesting, as you said, you've got older blokes, and I'll give you the perfect example that he's got bugger all socials. He's got his own fishing page on Facebook. Tom Digg. Now, Tom's been around the circuit forever and a day, and he can catch a fish out of a bucket.
Fish.
I love being Tom's nonny.
Oh, he's just such a gentleman there, and he's so knowledgeable about it. But you look at Tom there, and if Tom walked around after at the moment, all of us older guys would know him. But no young bloke.
But there'd probably only be a handful of youngies that would know him.
And then there's another young bloke that signed up, doing a bit with Froglies at the moment, and I don't know his last name, Josiah, but Joe's gone fishing. I think his socials is.
Okay.
Yeah.
Now Joe's, he's probably around 15, 16 or something like that.
Yeah.
His YouTube channel's got 17,000 followers.
Wow.
You know,
Wow.
he's fishing up around this way. I presume he's up around this way. You know,
Well done, mate.
And it just goes to show that those young guys are they love the GoPro footage. They just love the videos.
Yeah.
You know, and so I think that's where the next step is. You know, if you're a young guy wanting to get into it, definitely the YouTube side of the channels. You know, that's where it's going to be. So.
Yeah. Do you think? And you know, this can be a contentious question, maybe to some people out there, but I, for one, personally, always try and be like transparent with fishing where I can, especially when I've done the social media stuff. A lot of tournament guys are sort of earing away from that now because, you know, it's like, oh, well, they knew I was there. And I honestly, I get that too, right? We've all, from a tournament thing, we've all been affected by that.
Yeah.
One way or the other. And so do you think these guys coming in with the social media now are going to keep being transparent in the idea that they might go off or do something? And what's your thoughts on having transparency in fishing in general, especially when you're doing content?
Yeah.
What's your thoughts on that?
I think it's, for me personally, I love to be just straight to pure honesty.
Yeah. Honesty is the key.
I don't like lying about things. I never have been. Something I was brought up.
Yeah.
And I don't believe in basically manipulating the truth, so to speak, just to make yourself look good. You know, if I've had a shit day fishing,
and I've seen examples of and know of examples where someone might, you know, be affiliated with a particular company, but use something else, and then said, we caught it on.
I hate that shit.
So you know, like I've seen it, I've heard it, and that's one thing that I always felt when I was putting stuff out was that I can't lie about this. You know what I mean? Like, this is it. This is there. Yeah. And you know what? It probably cost me a little bit when ABT Grand Final come a few years ago to the Clarence. And I've seen other YouTubers do some similar things on the river. Am I upset about that? No, not really. But some people take that, you know, especially if you're that competitive, I guess, from the tournament side, or you might see what I done and go, well, I'm going to make that better. You know, but from my side, like, I don't care. So it's really, I like the idea of transparency in fishing because if we can pull a few more bums off the seats, whether they're young or old, and we get them out there having a go because they've watched, you know, 20 or 30 YouTube videos or seen someone on social media going, I know that part of the river. That's just down the road. I personally think that's a great thing.
Yeah, so do I. I mean, especially where I live, it's a small community, and I love when kids.
Hey, Peter, do you want to hear some trivia?
Oh, mate, I love a good game of trivia.
Guess what happens when a chook and two pelicans get together?
What's that, mate?
A clucking good time. That's right, you pelicans. The wobbly chook has jumped on board, keeping the bird presence strong. Whether you like a pale ale, brown ale, IPA, or a lager, the wobbly chook has you catered. Crafted from Yamba's finest chooks.
Better still, Mick, how do we get some wobbly chook?
That's easy, P2. Jump online at www.wobblychookbrewingco.com or pop in to 26 Cole Street in the heart of Yamba.
And have a clucking good time.
Cluck out.
Cuckoo! Always remember, don't be a mud gudgeon and drink responsibly.
Welcome back to another episode of the Two Pelicans podcast. So you would have just missed that.
G'day, you Pelicans.
You really was. You were sort of hung up on his
Go and have a good time with her a bit later on.
Pelicans landing in 3, 2, 1.
To dabble in a little bit of comp fishing when you've got the time off work and free of the family. What's the favourite comp you've done in your years? And is there anything else in comp scene that you'd like to see the comps be ran different, or is there anything different in the comps that you'd like to see come out of them from your experience from doing the comps?
Favorite comp, that's probably a tough one to do. I guess would have been 2021 or 2 at Grafton, the Clarence, where all the big bass were down, and I happened to get the big bass for the comp. That was probably up there, and that was a great weekend.
Actually,
that's the first time I actually fished with Tom Diaz. He was my boater on the second day. We had a good day, and I had Walshy on the first day. We banged him. It was a great day. that was probably one of the highlights for me, because I'd had a couple of dry runs with boaters previously.
Yep.
Which was one of the reasons why I decided I was going to throw the tinny in.
Yeah.
Another one that was probably up there for me, I donated. It was at Corokai. It was one of the Bass Electric rounds.
I hate fucking Corokai.
I think it was the second tournament I ever fished.
Don't worry, brother.
And-
we donated together. And I think that's the one that Tyson won from the.
No, I can't remember who won this
was
one.
that the one that Tyson was in the blow up or in his nitro?
No,
it was the first one. You didn't come to.
Yeah, no,
you didn't.
this was years ago now. This was like 2018 or something.
Oh no, this was back when Joey was
And,
still doing it.
Yeah, so Joey was doing it, and I went there, and I fished the estuaries and all that all the time. I chase tidal bass. That's my thing. I love to do, and I dropped 2 fish early.
Yep.
And I thought, whatever, I'll get the bite. It's cool, whatever. Never got a bite. and I come back, and I think it could have been earlier than 2018 even, and I think Joey, I don't know whether he won it or was up there.
Yeah.
He was talking about these buzzbaits. He's burning buzzbaits. What's this buzzbait thing, And from that tournament on, I realised that I'd been in my own little bubble for so long in my own area.
Yep.
And that I had a whole lot to learn. So that was probably the big turning curve for me in all my fishing. Which was great. So that was probably up there. Even though I donated, it was still up there with one of the best tournaments I've been. And that's the reason why I like to do them. I like to go there, and if I don't catch them, why didn't I catch them? What can I do next time? And you put yourself in that environment when you're fishing with the best bass fishermen in the country.
100%.
If you can't figure it out, you're learning from them. Figure it out. So, and I think that's what's cool about it. In terms of things I'd change, I'm sure you'll be up on this one. More boat maintenance on boaters.
Yeah.
That's probably what. And I think you and I know both have the same boater.
Yep.
I'm not going to name names.
We're not going to name names, but we.
I think, I know, obviously I fish out of the 4.3 tinny, so I apologise to my non-boaters. Obviously, that you're going to have to sit up the front way of the nose.
Little tinnies, you got to expect that the boater has to apologise.
But your bilge pump works.
Sometimes, and look, most of the guys are, and most of the guys in the scene are great blokes that look after the gear. And I'm not going to. There's not a lot I change. The way Morgo runs them's great.
Oh yeah.
I think if I could change, if there's one thing you could change, probably a little bit of ego.
Yeah, no, that's fair.
Well, there's a few blokes in
there. A little bit of stigma around the tournament scene.
You just see it every now and then, and you just, I don't know, I feel sorry for some of the non-boaters some days there. And like I say, that's why I don't non-boat.
Yeah, I think it can be tough for a non-boater depending on the bite.
Yeah,
and look, that's not having a dig at the boaters.
No,
the boaters have got a job to do, and the nonny
100%.
The nonny comes as a nonny. Like we get it.
Yeah.
But then also saying that when you are at that stage where you're sort of a non, do I want a nonny? Do I want a boat?
Yeah.
One of those days will definitely turn you straight to next time I'm bringing my boat.
I think Domo Winters knows exactly that feeling when I was catching bass on frogs at Corokai, and he was at the back of the boat. I'm not sorry, man. But, we got him up there and got his fish.
Yeah.
And he's a perfect example.
And I was about to say, he's one fella that understands the boater, non-boater cycle. And
he's in that spot at the moment there that if he keeps going and he happens to maybe take out an AOY of not boating this year, if he keeps going, no pressure on the Damo.
I was about to say,
they have to step up and get that big tin can out.
Don't worry about that. He's pretty focused on Brim at the moment.
I know,
I
know. He's doing all right at the moment. He's a bit of pixie dust been flown over something, and he's doing well. Shout out to the Winters.
Look, getting back to the point there, the way Morgan and Nicole run those comps, especially the ABT. I haven't done any of the Queensland fishing tournaments myself. I've heard they're great comps.
They're good fun, man. Something to have a look at.
In general, the way the comps are getting run at the moment, they seem pretty good. So,
awesome.
It's not a lot you change.
Nah.
It's something like ego is a really good thing to bring up because it's something that we haven't really tapped into this podcast before.
Just stroking mine while you talk about it.
Yeah. But it's true. Like there's egos that come with fishermen, especially tournament fishermen.
But in saying that, is it egos or just big personalities?
Oh, look, I think
I'm trying to be nice. Fucking it's egos.
I've been in competitive sports my whole life,
and
you see it as we all do in every sport. They're always going to be there, and some guys, like I've said, I'll never say I'm a crack shot fisher.
Yeah.
some days I'll do good and everything will work the way I would. Some days I can't figure them out, and the other guys will. They're the guys that are switched on.
I'm not the best, but I'm in the top 3, I reckon.
What I'd say, like being, and like I haven't consistently done ABT for personal reasons over the years, but for me, when I first come in back in 2011, whatever, or 10, whenever it was, there was a lot of ego running around. It was actually, it was like, oh, wow. Like it was, for me personally, like coming into it, I was like, oh, shit, you know. As time's gone on and, you know, there's people disappeared from that scene for one or two reasons or a couple. I find, I'm only talking about the Brimmy, I'm not talking about the Bass, that's settled down, in my mind, that's settled down so much more. I'm not saying that it's not gone, but, you know, if you'd done it back in 2010, 2011, like there was a lot of big egos running around. Like from like people going that were, you know, fishing like 200 metres away, running down a wall, a set of pontoons, and you're here going, they're like, no, I've got all this. You know, I've got, you know.
You don't own the water, mate.
Can you see what I've, you know what I mean? But now, and I think this is credit to Steve, like, we've talked about etiquette. We've talked about, you know, if you're going into a spot, like have that conversation. Like they're just some little things that are sort of broken down some ego things, and the people that still had that ego, they've gone. That's how I sort of see it.
And you're right. Like I'm not saying there's a hell of a lot of it. Like, there's a few there.
It exists, though.
You just see it. And like I'll give you a perfect example of a bloke there that certainly has no ego issues at all. Mick Horn.
Oh, Horn Dog.
You know, mate, when I first
biggest man crush.
When I met him up at Corokai, and shout out to you, mate, there because you're a gentleman. I was like, oh, you know, we've all seen his Jack videos over the years and everything like that, and I've seen Mick around, and I was like, oh, you know, that's a bloke that's never going to want to talk to a bloke like me. I'm a nobody and everything. And I was walking past, sat down, had a beer, went up to the pub, had a couple of beers and everything like that.
And I bet you knew your name.
And I just walked past and I was like, wow, it just blows you away there. That the people that, not saying that, you know, I thought he was like that, Mick, apart from snapping his dodge, chasing jacks, you know, thought he might have a bit of a temper. It just goes to show you that sometimes there that you've got to realise that all these people there that you see in the magazines or you see on YouTube,
they're just blokes like us.
That's right. That's right. And when you take that whole stigma out of your mind and you put everyone on the same playing field, that we're all just blokes that have normal day jobs. That's
the other side.
And I was honestly about to say, when I first came into ABT in 2019, I was so intimidated by these guys that I'd looked up to.
Of course.
You'd seen them in the magazines, you'd seen them on the socials and that, and like
AFC.
These to me, these guys were my fishing heroes. And I still remember the first day that I rocked up at Wivenhoe for my first comp. Langers, Coney, Keegan, and all that were there, and like I just walked up shitting my pants. And shout out to Langers because he made me feel so welcomed, and he honestly didn't have to. And that, but I think it's the pedestal that we also put them on, and a bit of intimidation from our side, and a bit of insecurity in that. But once you get over that, as we said, these fellas are just like us sitting on the couch. They love fishing. They love the sport. As soon as you have the confidence to go up and say good day and create a conversation, you'll realise that they're just like us.
And this is where the ego thing I've found comes in, and it's not directly related just to time. It's fishing in general. It's the guys that aren't there. They're not those guys yet. But they want to be those guys, so they can train themselves to be the best that there is, you know, and they'll step on whatever toes they need to get where they want to get. And I hate that. You know, and like I say, exactly what you said. Everyone in the tournament scene, you know, has made me feel welcome for sure. You know, no complaints, no arguments. Everyone's been really good.
And like I said, like back when I done my first one, as a nonny, I only did one as a non-boater. I had a bad experience. I just went, you know what, I've got a boat. If I double donut for the rest of my life, I'm not doing that. But I think what brought the boater and non-boater thing when they do it on the shared weight for the bass, right? Like,
well, so I used to hate that because when I first started, not mentioning names, but there was people in the non-boater area that won the weekend, and they didn't even catch a fucking bass for the weekend.
I didn't.
Yes.
That's one thing I never liked.
Yeah,
I
that
never
was-
understood
yeah.
that. I couldn't personally.
I'm getting beaten by someone that
Yeah.
didn't catch a
But
fucking
it
fish
all
all
of a
weekend.
sudden, it felt like a team,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Like so I guess like if you're a nonny, you're like, oh,
And
this
you got
is a great
you got
idea.
Coney for the day, and it's
Yeah.
a jerkbait bite. You're like, fuck yeah.
I couldn't walk away with the trophy. I literally couldn't.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be able to walk away with
Yeah.
it.
No,
There's
it-
way.
yeah,
I'd
yeah.
have to leave there. I'm sorry, but I just
Yeah,
could not
yeah.
morally.
Like
go
I found it, and like this is a bit of a touchy subject for me, and like Steve says, you're leading on day one, but like that grand final trophy that I won on the Clarence front, it was only
Yeah.
one day.
Yeah.
Like, yep, I won the grand final, but like I honestly still don't feel like I won it.
Yeah.
Like-
yeah.
Like it's it's a 2-day event. Like,
Yeah.
yep,
I know where you come from.
congratulations, I was leading after day one, but
Yeah.
like
You still had the second day to go.
I also had Jake Hardy up my ass by 20 grams, Cameron Hall by fucking 450 grams.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
and on day two, I had Tom Deere,
Yeah.
who would have been fishing completely different to what I was fishing
Yeah,
with my other boater.
Yeah.
It was still anyone's
Yeah,
game.
absolutely,
So,
absolutely.
yeah, that's it's just one of those.
Yep.
Yeah.
Got any more questions there, mate?
Yeah, I've got a few more.
That's all right. Fire away.
3 fish. Pick your order.
3 fish.
Bass,
Oh,
Jack, Jew.
no, I'd probably say if I had 3 fish, it'd definitely be bass and jack.
Yeah. Not
Probably-
the Jewy?
No, probably
Oh,
flatties.
I see. That was
Okay,
my other
yeah,
one.
yeah,
That was my other one. But I
I'm-
thought
I am a bit of a flatty fiend. I
Yeah.
do like them. They're big, small.
Yeah.
But I don't mind them.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
They're good fun.
they pull
Yeah.
string. They hit
they're
lures.
all, they're all different, you know. Like, and that's what intrigues me with the flathead. They're such a unique, weird fish to catch. They
Yeah.
really are. Like,
Yeah.
they take
And
a lot
so
of-
many different methods.
so
as
many
well.
different methods,
Yeah.
you know. Like they just can consistently try and get you out of your comfort zone. You know, some days you can be throwing something tiny there, you
Yeah.
know, and they'll be all over, and the next day you're throwing 145 mil bloody slim twitcher,
Yeah.
and they're coming out of the shallows,
And
you
30
know.
centimetre
Yeah.
flathead
Yeah,
taking it.
it's ridiculous. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, they'd be my 3.
Nice. Beach, bank, or boat?
Ooh.
Oh, boat.
Boat.
Hey.
Yeah.
Righto.
Righto. And if you had one lure to use for the rest of your life, what would it be?
Ooh, one lure to use for the rest of my life.
And if you don't say surface, you're dead to me. No.
I'm probably going to get shot by Starkey here, but I'm going to say bassman buzzbait.
Yeah.
I'd happily
yeah.
take a
Okay.
buzzbait and chase flathead on it, or
Yep.
jacks or anything.
Well, you want to know
like that.
something? I don't think I've ever seen Tomic or Froglies do a
No,
buzzbait.
they don't do a buzzbait.
Starkey.
You know,
There's market, brother. Market. Buzz us up.
everyone knows there that Glenn's buzzbaits. I've pushed
Oh,
them through hell.
yeah.
Yeah. I've got that many worn out props at home
Yeah,
in my shed.
yeah.
It's not funny there, and they're just
Yeah.
such a great bait. They're so fun. Like
Yeah.
anyone buzzbaiting's addictive, but
Yeah.
But yeah, you know, out of our range, I'd probably nearly lean to. It'd be a toss up between maybe.
Semi-soft hard.
Yeah, I'm still leaning. The soft 5s, they're so universal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You can fish them everywhere.
Yep,
You know,
yep.
the Vib 50s we got. Like I use the Vib 50s a lot in the river, and you can chase the bass, brims, jew,
Yeah.
jacks,
Yeah.
flatties.
Versatile.
Yeah,
Yeah,
they're real
yeah, yeah,
versatile
yeah.
lures, so they'd
Yeah.
probably be up there.
Yeah. Nah, awesome. I think that's about it for my.
No, that's all right.
I think that's about it for my
So
questions. that I have.
what we'll do? I think you sort of answered like 2 out of the 3 of the past 3 questions that we did today.
Yeah.
On the show, but dead or alive, who would you have a chook with?
Shout out to the wobbly chook.
Oh, if I could have a chook with anyone, dead or alive, probably my grandfather.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a very popular answer today.
It's funny. I'll show you after anyway. My old man showed me a timber hand line that he was made from his grandfather
Yeah.
years ago, and it brought back memories there of my grandfather with I don't know, it was a Coke bottle or a beer bottle, but the old probably 50-pound mono.
Yeah.
around and he took me over to the dam with a jitterbug, and he's
Yeah.
like, cast that out. And I said, but I can't cast. And he goes, you'll spend your day figuring that out. And I did too. And I ended up working out how to cast that thing out, and then retrieving this jitterbug, you know, and then found out there's no fish in the dam anyway. But, he'd definitely be the man I'd have a beer with. for
Yeah,
sure.
nah,
Yeah.
sounds like a legend for sure.
Now, the one thing I was just sort of throwing out there, we're talking to actually Chris Hickson today about travelling and a little bit like that.
Yeah.
But Do you sort of see yourself getting there out and around this country, doing a bit of fishing in other states, that sort of thing, doing a bit of content in that respect?
I'd like to get a bit more.
Yeah.
I'm trying to.
You builders got heaps of money. I thought
I was about to say, just build another $1 million house and off you go.
Don't know about that.
Oh, he's got to pay for that bloody apprentice that's just qualified that has more days off than Donald Trump.
He's having fun doing his own stuff now.
Oh, he's out doing his own thing now.
Look, I want to. We're in the throes of just maybe a bit of a lifestyle change coming up in the near future. So we'll see what happens there. But
Nice.
But yeah, definitely as everybody keeps hounding me, local boys at home.
Yeah.
Liam Williams, if you're listening there, shut up. I already know. I'm going to go and chase some bear at some point and come back with a donut story like everyone else.
Yeah, that's
but
right.
Yeah, you know, like I'd really love to just bucket list item for me has always been, and one of my good mates, Dan Flack, that I fish with all the time. We've always said we want to do it. It's a couple of weeks down the Murray River.
Yeah.
Just down the river in the boats. You know, you watch Colby Lesko's videos there where Colby's just, it's just unreal.
Yeah.
He's just waking up there, you know, listening to the Corellas and everything like that, spark away a lot of fire over coffee, you know.
Big old houseboat and a couple of kiddies connected to it. Happy days.
So for me, like I've always been a bush boy. I hate the beach. I hate the sand and salt water, you know, the tidal stuff. That's enough for me. But yeah, that's probably where I'm.
Yeah, right.
Actually, before we end up, and I know it's sort of close season, but how's the river been down home? Have you been getting plagued with bass where bass shouldn't be?
I haven't been up near them.
Well, we're getting them.
They're right down the front of our
nearly off the wall at Yamba.
Our system's a little bit different there. They're still up. Honestly, I haven't been up to even have a look, but
been a good boy.
Generally where they are.
Yeah,
so,
okay.
Yeah, okay.
But the way the water clarity is and everything like that, they'll be pretty well where they
okay.
on the spawning grounds anyway.
Yeah,
But they generally don't move too far. Like even in the big floods, they come down a little bit further, maybe a kilometre or two further, but not much.
Yeah, okay.
Not much. We don't come down the front. Macleay River, you know, different story. You know, like we saw a few years back in the big floods, 2020, where they'll get them on the sand flats down there at Southwest Rocks.
Yeah,
You know, like crazy.
Mates, look, we know that you've got to get off or go to the after dinner there soon.
Yep.
I have one more question for you. Thoughts on P2?
Oh. You know,
take your time.
How do I word this there? No, look, I'll be honest there.
Please, be.
You know, when we're talking before about, you know, blokes that you've seen in the industry and everything, like Joey was one of those blokes that I always looked at. And I remember the first time I saw Joey at a comp and he was setting up things. I think it was Hinge Dam. Said good day. And I thought I'd have a bit of a conversation. And to his credit, he was obviously busy, so he kind of brushed you a little bit. But
he had an ego.
Biggest ego of them all.
Wish you were here, mate.
But then over time, you got to know, you got to talk to him on the face level. And mate, I've spoken to Joey, you know, message and whatnot over the years there. And he's a very generous bloke with his time.
Yeah, that's right.
He's a really nice bloke. I do miss all his dancing videos on the cast deck because, man, he's got some moves. He's jagger than you.
Mate,
we're only talking about it the other day. He's hooking the fit.
I can tell you now, we've had a few big nights out here before fishing comps, and he can dance anywhere. That kid, oh my god!
He'd have to be up there at AOY for the most dusty starts, wouldn't he? He'd have to.
I think him and I have got quite a good little record going.
The casino shuffle.
But anyhow,
he's a good bloke, mate. He's a good bloke. That's for sure.
Mates, look, thanks for giving us some time there. We apologise. Obviously, we're having some bad internet issues here tonight, which is
followed us from Grafton.
Yeah, it's fucking unreal. But thank you very much for coming in.
Mate. Thank you.
And
thanks, man.
That's great. But anyhow, you guys, you've been listening to Two Pelicans podcast. I'm Mick.
I'm Bo.
And we are the Two Pelicans.
You.